Right, so before we get started, I literally just got home from work, hence the attire. And I felt inspired on the way home. I felt inspired. I felt compelled to make a video on this topic, which, as you can have imagined, is based on the question, are you a pussy? And that's the question that I want to ask to you, right? And I want you to think very, very carefully about it before you answer me. And before you say you are what you eat, Mark Davies, I'm looking at you, mate. You're not funny. Genuinely think about it, right? And I'm not talking about, oh, I was scared to, I don't, I don't know, right? I'm not talking about like the generic word use of the word pussy. What I mean and what I believe is that as a society, we have lost the ability to tolerate even the slightest amount of discomfort, right? Because we are literally insulated from pain in a world where everyone's trying to solve all the different pains, and that's good, but that has insulated us from pain and discomfort. And on the flip side, we're being exposed to all the easily accessible pleasure that you could ever dream of, right? Everything is just a couple clicks away. Everything's just a couple taps away. You don't have to fucking do anything. You don't have to do anything. So look, here's the test, and it's not really a test. It's just a series of statements that are designed to make you feel uncomfortable. And if they do make you feel uncomfortable, then, well, keep watching. It might get a little bit tense. It might get a little bit intense, but trust me, it's for the best, right? So, 9 statements, right? So you can't be bothered to walk. You get an Uber. You can't be bothered to take the stairs. So you take the elevator. You can't be bothered to cook. So you order in. You can't be bothered to eat clean. So you get fat or chubby. whichever way you want to call it, it's the same outcome. You can't be bothered to develop a valuable skill or find something that you're passionate about it. So you stay in a job that you hate and you continue dreading the morning alarm every morning, which is when morning alarms are. You can't be bothered to make yourself presentable and find a woman. So you watch porn, probably every night, and you get a sex doll or a flashlight. And for anyone that doesn't know what a flashlight is, search it up. Just don't do it on a work or computer, on a work or school device. Okay? That's a pro tip for you. You can't be bothered to work on yourself and become a man that your children would then be proud of. So you just watch Netflix every night. My videos are different, obviously. That's not the same thing. You can't be you can't be bothered to move out, stop relying on your parents, and carve your own path in life. So you stay living with your parents and you stay a mother's boy. Or a daddy's boy. But probably a mother's boy. Mother's boy. So if any of these statements actually made you feel uncomfortable, then good. That is what they were designed to do. And if they did make you feel uncomfortable, I think that should be a very clear indicator that, it's probably got some sort of element of truth to it, right? And I'm not making this video for people that have everything figured out because no one really does, to be honest. And I want to make something very, very clear that there's absolutely no shame in any of these situations, right? Everyone has their own reasons and their own shit that they're going through. You can look at someone on Instagram, you can think that they have the best life ever, but you go behind the scenes and they are going through their own shit. Everyone's got their own shit. Some people have money to hide it, other people don't. That's pretty much the two sides of the coin, right? The shame comes from not actually doing anything about it, not actually doing anything about your situation. It comes from looking in the mirror every day and choosing to stay the same, choosing to give up on yourself. Do you remember the little kid that used to be? Chances are you don't, right? I mean, I very vaguely remember, the sort of those days, right? But the kid that had goals, right? The kid that wanted to be a footballer, the one who wanted to be a spaceman, the one who wanted to be fucking John Cena. Yeah? It doesn't matter. That kid is still inside of you. He is still inside of you and he still has goals. But growing up and realizing that the world isn't what you thought it would be has caused you to give up. But that doesn't mean that that's the fucking end. Sorry, I'm really using all my obscenities today. I'll try to refrain. In a society where basically all of our day-to-day problems have been solved, like I said at the start, or are being solved, actively solved, like for example, cancer, obviously it's not been solved, but hopefully we are solving it and we are on the way there. It's tempting to take the easy way out. And that is exactly what the average and the below average man does. I'm going to click next. Yeah, okay. Doesn't matter. That's exactly what the average and the below average man does. Right. And if you're happy plodding along in life, having a pint after work every other night, playing football until after your fucking bedtime, sorry for my obscenities again, then go ahead. To be honest, the UK literally encourages this behavior. Like if you don't do that kind of thing, you're frowned upon. And everyone's like, ugh, like what's that guy doing? Like, why is he not at the pub? Like, what a fucking loser, right? And to be honest, it's probably similar in the US as well. But if you know that you're capable of more, and if you know deep down that that's not what your life was supposed to be, then take some fucking action, man. And that all starts with building your physique. I'm not talking about making 10K a day like all these fucking influencers. I'm sorry, I keep swearing. All of these influencers on YouTube and Instagram and all these different people, they like spout onto you and you have to do their business model in order to make 10K a month. That's not what I mean. I'm talking about the first step, and the first step is your health. It's how you look, how you present yourself, how you feel, and how you operate on a day to day basis, right? If you struggle to lift your fucking 4 shopping bags home and you have to ask your girlfriend to help you, how embarrassing is that? Obviously, there are some points where you have way too much shopping that you can't carry all on your own, okay? And I'm not talking about those moments. Building a physique that you can be proud of, that people actually take the time out of their day to compliment you on, is about doing what you must and not what you want. And I think that's what the next slide says. There we go. Do what you must and not what you want. It's about taking the harder path even when you don't feel like it, right? Because the most gains come when you don't want to do it. When you're lifting weights, the most gains will always come from the last few reps where you're squeezing out and you look like you're about to take a dump in the toilet, constipated dump. That's when the most gains are coming out. When you're literally training to absolute failure, that's when you're growing. Well, not literally, but that's when you're growing muscle, right? And the same thing applies to every other area of your life that you want to be successful in, right? For example, I just switched career from IT to sales. I was never an extroverted person. I never thought that I would be able to sell. And I did it. I just did it. I pushed myself into the deep end. And every single day I was faced with limiting beliefs that you can't do this, you can't do that, you're going to fail, you're not going to hit target. Guess what? I fucking hit target. I stayed late, I put in the hours, and I hit that fucking target. Got a bit excited there. Hit my laptop. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. But in order to transform your physique or get a better job, get a pay rise, any of this kind of thing, you have to transform your lifestyle, not just make a couple little changes for a couple weeks and then hope that everything fixes itself, right? And that is why I identify as a lifestyle coach, not as a fitness influencer, not as a personal trainer. Because if you don't change your lifestyle, you'll sink straight back in to your old habits and end up back at square one. You have to change the whole environment, the whole thing. Otherwise, nothing's going to change. I don't know how else to put it. What does this last slide say? The last slide says nothing. Anyway, I'll finish by saying this. Change happens when the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the pain of making a change. Let me repeat that. Change happens when the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the pain of making a change. Now, I put a note here to leave on a very wholesome Russian quote that that my mum has drilled into my brain from over the years. Right, it's a very wholesome mother's quote, and it's going to translate very loosely into English, so it's not going to sound very coherent or fluent per se. But in Russian, the saying is "Любишь сянки, любишь кататься, люби саночки возить." That's I, that might not be exactly it, but it's basically what she says. And that loosely translates to if you love sledging down the hill or whatever, like, you know what I mean. If you love riding down the hill, then love the walk back up the hill as well. And that's a very good way to sort of end this talk, I suppose, this little rant. Um, because if you want something, if you want the pleasure of going to the beach, whipping your top off. I really stopped myself from saying the F word there. Whipping your top off and having people literally turn around and go, oh. Maybe not quite literally like that, but if you want that, if you want the pleasure of success, if you want the pleasure of being able to flex your muscles in your t-shirt and you look like you have hammers for arms, right? I don't know where I'm going with that. But if you want that, you have to make the sacrifices. There's no way around it. Like I said before, do what you must, not what you want. And on that, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for listening. Uh, I genuinely wish that I could have seen a video like this when I was still in my early stages of lifting and my early stages of life when I was 18. So hopefully this video finds someone that's in a similar position that genuinely wants to make a change and, this pushes them to actually get there. So yeah, thanks for listening. Peace. Until next